Mystery Singer at the Night Owl by the Prowler. Her voice sounds just as beautiful as ever. This is the 5th night in a row, but there is no sign of wear. Her melancholic tones always melt my problems away. Her name is Lee Prescott, singer and star at the Night Owl Jazz Club. If you're wondering my name, I'm James. Last name's not important. I'm just one of the poor, lonely souls that find themselves here every night, listening to Miss Prescott sing our blues away. I've been coming to the Night Owl for so long, every employee knows my name. The servers all know my order, and the manager even has a reserved table just for me in the back of the room. I am not rich by any means, but my loyalty and kindness has gotten me my own little patch of darkness in the corner of the club. I've sat and enjoyed many acts over the years, watching and listening from the darkness of my table. The more successful acts never staying too long. There were even a few that went on to stardom, but even they could not compare to Miss Prescott. She appeared one night, seemingly out of nowhere, enchanting the audience with the first note that left her lips. On my way out of the club, I stopped and asked Jack, who so happens to be the owner of this fine establishment, where he came across the talented Miss Prescott. And his response was befitting of the mystery that surrounds and follows Miss Prescott. His response: I didn't find her. She found me. She blew in right through those front doors like a mysterious wind was guiding her, and asked if she could audition. I politely said I wasn't looking to book any new acts at the time, but she started to sing anyway. I couldn't help myself. I was instantly mesmerized, so I hired her on the spot. That story makes perfect sense, I thought, as I made my way back home. A mysterious origin for the mystery woman who has haunted me with her voice. After arriving home, I began to unwind for the night, taking a shower and relaxing on the couch, watching some TV. It's funny, though. It's been hours since I was in the lounge, but I can still hear Miss Prescott singing. It's strange, but it's like her voice never leaves my ear. Her haunting melodic tones take over my every thought. I fall asleep and she's singing to me in my dreams. There's no escape from the mystery singer with the velvet voice. I awake the next morning and I'm greeted by her voice. She speaks to me now, telling me to get out of bed and start the day in her soft rasp. It's not a disturbing rasp, mind you, like an old woman's or a chain smoker's, but a sultry rasp. I get out of bed and put on a pot of coffee. I'm starting my day like her voice said. It hasn't stopped talking to me, though. I should be frightened, shouldn't I? Her voice is narrating my every movement. Everything she says to do, I do. No hesitation. It's as if she's the narrator of my life. I am mesmerized by Miss Prescott, but even I must admit this might be going a little too far. I don't think I have control over myself anymore. I'm sitting at my cubicle inside my office at work, and I'm making decisions that could cost me my job by listening to what she's telling me to do. I have to make it through my shift. I'm going to the Night Owl after work. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to finally speak to her, and maybe have the courage to tell her what's been happening to me. I managed to make it through the rest of my day without incident, thank God, because I just don't have control over my mind whatsoever at the moment. I'm on my way to the only place that relaxes me, the only place that brings me comfort. But will it still be the same? The closer I get to the Night Owl, the stronger her voice seems to get. As I enter the club, it never ceases to amaze me how much I feel at home within the darkened, smoke-filled walls of the Night Owl. I know everyone, and everyone knows me. The melodic, haunting atmosphere does things to my senses that cannot be explained. I am taken to my table at the back of the room, and I await Miss Prescott to take her place on stage. The house lights dim, and the side curtain that leads to the stage slightly opens, and she sways to the microphone. She stands there for a moment as we give her a welcoming ovation, then begins to sing. Standing there in her customary black dress, she looks across the room, singing as hauntingly as ever. I feel as if I was staring a hole right through her. I was staring so hard. I was just so captivated by her. It's almost as if she felt it too, because after she scanned the room, she started to stare right in my direction. She smiled and started singing directly to me. I couldn't believe it. I was lost in the notes, in her voice, the haunting calmness of it. It was almost trance-like. Not long into the song, however, I started to pick something up. Something other than the lyrics to the song. It was her voice, her speaking voice. I couldn't believe it. I sat there staring at her thinking if this was really happening. What was even more unbelievable and frightening was she nodded yes when I thought this. I put my head down. My God, she can read my thoughts. I then looked back up towards her, and she nodded yes again. I was shaken, but she quickly put me back at ease with her voice. Then she spoke again. But what she was asking of me was even more frightening than anything else. She wanted me to kill. Over and over in her sultry voice, she says, "Kill for me, James. Kill for me." How is this possible? How is she doing this? And how in the hell does she know my name? I downed my drink hard and fast, and slammed the empty glass on the table like it was a shot. Maybe the spirits will help drown out her voice, I thought. But I quickly realized that wasn't possible. I still heard her as clear as ever. She noticed the waiter Ben approach my table with a new drink, and she asked again, "James, kill the waiter for me, won't you? Follow him to the back and kill him." The more she asks, the more I feel like I'm losing control. It feels as if my mind and body are being taken over with every word she speaks. Ben places a new drink in front of me and asks if I need anything else. I shake my head no, trying to maintain control. But as he starts towards the back hall, I've lost all of my faculties. I'm no longer in control. On the table sits a fork and a knife, placed upon a napkin. She soothingly sings for me to pick up the knife. No longer in control, I of course do as she says. She tells me to follow Ben and to kill him viciously. Make it a death to be remembered for all who see it. She whispers right before I slice the knife across his throat, as I surprise him from behind. He slumps to the floor, and I begin to head back out to my table. But before I leave the back room, she reminds me, make it memorable. I start to hack and slash pieces of Ben with a ferocious anger until he is unrecognizable, and the room is covered in his blood. As I leave the room, she gently sings for more carnage. She directs me to the janitor's closet and tells me to grab the rat poison. I do it, then make my way to the kitchen. She sings for me to murder every employee in the room. I put the box of rat poison down on the counter and reach for the meat cleaver that was hanging on the wall next to me. I proceeded to hack and slash my way through the kitchen staff until there was no one left. There were multiple carts filled with soup and entrees waiting to be served by the door leading back out to the showroom. She told me to sprinkle the rat poison over every dish and to push the carts into the hall so they could be served by the waiters. She then told me to pour some of the rat poison in my hand and return to my seat. As I sat back down, the waiters were bringing out the carts of food, and as I looked around, it seemed every table was being served. I stared at her, still in my trance, mesmerized by her voice more than ever. She smiled at me and instructed me to pour the rat poison that was in my hand into my drink. I of course did as she asked. As her song ended, someone near the stage screamed for an encore, and everyone cheered in agreement. She smiled and nodded yes as the band started to play again. I heard her voice again to ask for one more request of me. Drink your drink, James. Drink the poison. By now, I could hear people around me start to choke and grasp for their last gasps of air. I picked up my drink and raised it to Miss Prescott, then drank it down quick, slamming it on the table. The mystery woman, who hauntingly entranced all who heard her, continued to sing her haunting melody as we lay dying. An Artist's Hands by the Prowler. I'm an artist, not musical or with paints as you may think when you hear artist. No, in my case it is the field of culinary arts. Named Newcomer of the Year, Fastest Rising Chef of the Year, 2 Michelin star restaurants, all to my name before the age of 24. And it's all thanks to 2 very important things: my hands. Every artist has to rely on their tools, be it a brush or an instrument, and every true great artist has to have an extraordinary ability to produce beauty from their instrument of choice. My hands, my instruments of beauty, know exactly how to make the proper cut, the proper stroke, the proper chop of whatever ingredient it's working with. My hands bring bliss to the masses, lines out the door of every restaurant, food critics literally eating out of the palms of my hands, My latest endeavor, a speakeasy, jazz noir, restaurant, nightclub called the Nightowl, has taken the city by storm. An abandoned building lost to time, supposedly haunted and neglected by the city. It was scheduled for demolition. I saved it, and now it's the hot spot of the entire city, with lines down the block trying to get a table, and reservations booked for the entire year in advance. It's all because of these hands. Whatever they touch turns to gold. Because of my success, everyone wants to flock to me, hoping for a little success for themselves. Resumes non-stop hit me daily. Thirsty souls wanting to work under me, thinking they can learn what they can, become the hot sous chef, the top assistant chef, to the hottest chef in the country, and right off to their own stardom. I can't blame anyone for thinking this way. Stepping stones is the name of the game in this business, and this business is cutthroat. I did my due diligence when it came to picking my staff. The back of the house, of course. But I didn't neglect the front of the house either. Everyone at the Nightowl is the best at what they do. They're also cutthroat, and they are hungry, just as I was when I broke into the business. A particular individual who is the personification of all three combined traits would be my executive chef, Willard Carnes, an individual with 10 times the ambition I had at his age, which is quite scary, if I'm being honest. 18 years old, fresh out of the culinary school of France, top of his class and all that bullshit. 18 and thinks he's the second coming, the next star, the best of the best. I saw myself in him, at least a part of me. You can say that's why I hired him right on the spot. It's been 5 months, the length of the Nightowl's existence. We're all still fresh here. Young Willard, in that time, has already started to make a name for himself. A few of the culinary rags wanting to know who the protege to the hottest chef on the scene is. Who's the next rising star? And Willard is all too glad to let people know it. He follows me constantly, sticking to me like glue every service, trying to gain every ounce of knowledge, needing to be the best, wanting to surpass me in fame and notoriety, and having the cockiness to inform me of it. I must admit, I do take pleasure in knocking him down a peg or two when he goes off on one of his greatest tangents. This is my world. I don't care how great you think you are, how much culinary talent you possess. You will never have the things that matter, the things that make me great. I raise my arms and show him my hands. You don't have these, which make me great. Therefore, you can never be as great as me. He doesn't appreciate when I tell him that. Oh well, the truth hurts. The tension has been high as of late. The Nightowl is completely booked nightly. Stress is rampant, as the kitchen is constantly swamped. I'm trying to put out award-winning food with every plate I send out, and I notice everything. There's nothing that escapes my attention. Willard tries to one-up me at every turn, and he's becoming dangerous and unpredictable. I notice every night on the line with him next to me, a slip of the blade mid-chop, an extra ounce of pressure and strength while filleting a choice piece of meat, overflowing pots of boiling water, a slight case of clumsiness with handling of hot grease. His happy little accidents, they're called around the kitchen. He thinks he'll take over everything with my untimely demise. I know it. When I bring these things up, people just brush it aside, like I'm paranoid, thinking I'm afraid I'll lose the limelight to the next big thing. I'm alone in this world. I have to do everything in my power to stay vigilant and watch my own ass. I swear, if I catch that upstart even looking at me strangely, next time I'm sticking a rustic, crusty baguette right up his ass. The bullshit continued for another month, until the fateful night in question. We had just closed down for the night, after once again another chaotic dinner service, and began the continued preparation of the upcoming mayoral charity dinner, which was being held at the Night Owl in 3 days' time, a dinner we have been planning for weeks. All that was left was the finishing touches, so all that was needed was me and Willard. I was putting together the entree and messing around with multiple recipes in my mind, and only needed Willard there to help me finish it. I admit, since we were in the closing stages of preparing this event, the stress had become quite extreme. I was feeling it. My vision for this dinner was almost complete, and I just wanted it to finally all be over with. Admittedly, with my mind and focus elsewhere on other things, my usual vigilance towards Willard's every sneaky move was interrupted. And with people like that, a shark like Willard, you can't ever afford to lose your concentration. Not a break for one fucking solitary moment. I was standing in the doorway of the walk-in freezer, grabbing a couple of steaks for my idea for the entree. I was only halfway inside the freezer for a moment. As I grabbed the steaks with my one hand, my other hand was holding on to the outside frame of the freezer door. In my distraction, right as I grabbed the steaks, I heard a loud crunch, followed by an immense, excruciating pain from my other hand, or should I say, where my other hand used to be. The bastard closed that heavy freezer door on my hand, severing it at the wrist. I crumpled to my knees, holding my bloody stump in unbearable pain, when he opened the freezer door and approached me with a raised meat cleaver. I raised my good arm in defense, and with one violent swoop, he took my other hand. My tools, my gifts, my instruments of beauty and art, the two things that brought me greatness were just savagely taken from me. I sat there in shock and pain. Then he finished me off with a cleaver, thrust to the head. And that was that. It was my fault. What can I say? I was simply careless. But don't worry. I got my revenge. Remember when I told you the Night Owl was believed to be haunted? Well, those rumors were 100% true. The spirits in that place are angry. They are vengeful. And it pisses them off when shit happens like it happened to me. Call it karma, call it supernatural, I don't care. Because whatever it is caused me to return. Well, a part of me anyway. Willard disposed of my body like a good killer should. But he was feeling nostalgic, I guess, and decided to take a souvenir. My right hand. When he got home, he jarred it and preserved it and put it on display on his mantle, like a trophy, you could say. Well, that was a big mistake. As he lay sleeping, my possessed hand, hell-bent on revenge, broke out of its jar and slithered its way towards his bed, waking him up with a gentle choke. He struggled and fought my hand around the house until finally throwing it into the fireplace, where he watched it burn and stopped moving, thinking it was over. Obviously, he's never seen a horror movie in his life and doesn't know how this possessed revenge shit works. It's not over till he's fucking dead. The hand continued to torment him day and night, showing up in the most unexpected places, driving him mad, pushing him to the edge of insanity. Wherever he went, my hand was sure to follow, not giving him a moment's peace. He was becoming paranoid and tired, never being able to sleep because of fear. His work began to suffer. Being on the line with other chefs, he was constantly paranoid and frightened of the hands of the other chefs, moving around him, not knowing if it was my hand returning to torment him. The night owl was throwing a dinner party one night, for some food critics, I believe. The kitchen was chaotic and busy, as you would imagine. The walk-in freezer door had been open all dinner service, with people going in and out for meats of all kind. One of the sous chefs spilled a pot of boiling water near the freezer door, and before they could say something, Willard walked toward the freezer to grab a steak, slipping and falling to the ground, right at the open freezer door. He barked at the staff that tried to help him up, to get away. He didn't need their help. He could do it himself. He was very sluggish to get up, completely tired and exhausted. The cool floor felt good on his burning skin. In his moment of calm, his guard was now down, no longer paying attention to his surroundings. As he continued to lay there, my hand slithered out from the shadows and moved toward the freezer door that was ajar. Willard heard something and looked up. The last thing he saw was my decayed hand, violently swinging the door closed. He tried screaming, but it was too late. The freezer door slammed onto his outstretched neck, decapitating him mid-scream. My hand slowly crept back to the shadows, and my revenge was complete, proving me right all along. These hands, my hands, could do remarkable, extraordinary things in life and even in death.